innovative content, global audience.
Good morning. You're welcome to SRTV London, and we're streaming live from the city of Abuja. My name is Kenneth, and you're on to People and Politics. Now, when the president, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, resumed office, or rather, before he even resumed office, he started off with his campaign manifesto called the Renewed Hope Agenda. Now, the Renewed Hope Agenda was meant to develop, or rather, to bring up or bring back the lost glory of the Nigerian state by bringing back the hope of the average man in the Nigerian society, or rather in the Nigerian Federation. Now, the question is, it's been more than 100 days in office. Can we truly say that the average man in Nigeria has a hope on the way Nigeria is being run today? Is this something we can look back and say that the Renewed Hope agenda has started to manifest? Or are we still going to hope that the president and his administration will revive the hope of the average man? To look at this with me today is Mr. Ogu Adekole Obiokba. He is a former political and administrative head to the Deputy Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. He's a policy analyst and a lecturer, and he's someone that I know can do justice to what we want to look at today. Mr. Ogu, you're welcome to SRC.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much. Now, the average Nigerian keeps asking, there is the hope. I was out on the street some days before now, and we're trying to get the reaction of the people towards the Renewed Hope agenda as per the policy of the president and the few policies we've been able to enact based on his manifesto. The question has always been, is there hope in his policies? Is there hope in his agenda? Is there hope in his administration? And that's the first question I ask you today, sir. Do you really think there is hope for the average Nigerian man in the policy of the federal government?
Thank you very much. I think there is hope. Despite the fact that we are coming from a very long road of challenges for the past administration, the hope is that if you look at the agenda for renewed hope, you will understand that the president pointed out about 8-point agenda: food security, poverty eradication, and then a level playing ground for private establishment, fighting corruption, and list other things. Although there are Nigerians reacting in several quarter, particularly when it has to do with the issue of subsidy removal, that's one of the most grave issues that Nigerians are really feeling the impact, particularly the multiplier effect and the consequences and implications on transportation, as well as also food increment and other high cost of living as a result of that. But why I say that there's hope is that if you look at also the president has also been able to come up with the presidential compressed natural gas initiative, where emphasis and direction is effort is being geared towards making sure that energy is at affordable prices and also reduce as possible cost for Nigerians also. And the appointment he has made so far, if you look at this also, the personalities that he has brought on board, inclusion of women, about 9 women appointed in the cabinet, and you also find their place. So, on a general whole, the body language of the president, also in the area of fighting corruption, where I and you are aware about the suspension of the EFCC chairman, those are also testament to his also determination regarding fighting corruption, which is one of his 8-point agenda. So far, so good. The 100 days plus in office, I think the body language of the president, to a large extent, to me, I think there is hope in, despite the challenges of fuel hike. The president has also made some arrangement, particularly disbursement of 5 billion naira to state governors in order to come up with palliatives that will cushion the effect of this hardship on Nigerian republics.
Well, sir, I think I have to take you up on the body language, as you have indicated. The body language might show some signs of the president wanting to, do some changes in the system. But the body language has not transmitted to the stomach language of the average Nigerian.
And
As I yesterday, I could confirm to you that the dollar has started going for 970 naira. $1. He met it at about 700 and plus. I can also tell you that the fuel, in fact, you talked about subsidy, but one of the things I noticed when I looked at the dailies yesterday is that the federal government has paid about 164 billion naira for subsidy since the subsidy has been removed. So it means subsidy has not been removed 100%. So I want to ask you again on energy, because he made it a very vocal point towards his campaign that he was going to transform the energy sector, was going to clean it up of the corruption that has been persistent in the energy sector. So I want to ask you, based on his manifesto, based on his body language, as you have put it, I know 100 days is too small to say he has done everything that needs to be done. But do you think he has done enough to sanitize the energy sector? Do you think he has done enough for the average Nigerian to sit back and say, okay, the issue of fuel is going to die off? Do you think there is enough for us to take back and say, while we suffer, we should have hope in the renewed hope agenda?
um, every policy have a life cycle.
Okay.
Policy formulation and implementation. It takes a maturation period for a policy to be tested in the face of the problem that is intended to solve.
Mm.
As for the removal of subsidy, the immediate impact is going to be huge. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
It may not be 100% total for now, but what, like you rightly said, increase dollar increase, and then also the subsidy is not totally removed or not, and what have you. But the boldness, the political will in the first place, because before the present administration, really, over the years, we also observed that the President Jonathan administration, even the past government, also made that they had wanted to,
Mm.
but
They
it
could
was,
not.
they couldn't, it was not done.
Mm.
So at least it's a kudos to give to him in that direction. The Indian impact is going to be very good as we are facing the present. Every Nigerian know what is going on now.
Mm.
But in the long run, because what the president in his policy statement also said is Nigeria loses about 3 trillion naira
Mm.
to the so-called scam uh, subsidy.
Yeah, that is on record. It's true.
And if the money is recovered by the removal of the subsidy to be redirected to key infrastructure, health care, infrastructure, health services, and other even transportations and what have you. So, and like I told you recently in some state, I had a friend who told me he was traveling, that has to go by the public transports,
Yeah.
and the fare is a little bit lesser compared to other what's so called private owned
Transport
public
companies,
transport companies. So all those things also, and also the palliative in terms of the 5 billion disbursement to all the state uh, governors across the whole country. So we are hoping.
Can I take you on,
I'm coming.
can I take you on that,
I'm
sir?
coming,
Yes,
but
no,
we
you
have
have to allow me to take you on that.
Okay,
The 5 billion
Mm.
that has been disbursed, what mechanism has been put in place to ensure that it gets to the average Nigerian? Because it
That
has been
is
prevalent in the Nigerian
really,
society
that
that
is
when things are given to the average Nigerian, it is hijacked by the elite and it never gets to Nigeria.
really that is just the fact. Now, the our expectation is that our hope is that we should really give the government time. We should give them time. You know, the Nigerian society, as we all feel it, is just like a woman who has been married
Mm.
to a lot of bad husbands over the years.
Mhm.
So such a person will not have no trust for any man.
Of course.
The feeling that all men are the same. So for the leadership over the years, we have been finding it difficult to trust our leaders. Like I said, now 100 days plus is a little bit relatively low period for
It
us
is
to
low. It
actually
is low. Yeah.
judge a policy, efficacy of the policy, the efficiency of the policy, whether it has been achieved or whether it has not been achieved. That's why I did mention the body language of the president is so outside even the economy, like I talked about the determination to fight corruption, as regards to removal of
Power from EFCC.
EFCC and others. Those are indications that we should hope. We hope that the proceeds from the subsidy removal is redirected to key infrastructure development, as they have said, because over time that has always been
The nitty-gritty.
nitty-gritty and the formula, the pattern of past leaders
Mm.
who giving hope Nigerians, the masses should tie their waist, they should tie their belts. It's going to be difficult in the long run, but let's hope and see possibly in the long run that this policy and the determination of this present administration will come to reality.
Okay, so like you just rightly saying now, we should hope and we should see. Now, one of the things we can actually see right now is that the president has selected his ministers. Why kudos we go to him for some, key ministries being held by people of competence that can deliver. I'm talking about the works ministry where we have Dave Umahi. I'm talking about the finance ministry where we have a well-grounded man, running the ministry now. Unlike we have politicians take it up. But the question has been for me in the defense ministry, we have a Matawala, Bello Matawala, who when he was in Zamfara State, the state was almost run over by bandits. We have a Badaru, who was also a former governor. These are people with little or no experience when it comes to security. So the question becomes, we've seen a mix of political alignment in the ministerial appointment, but we've also seen a bit of technocrat and people with competence to deliver. And then the question becomes, do you think the ministers will deliver on this unit of agenda? Do you feel they have the capacity to do it? I'm not just talking about the few of them, I'm talking about all round. Do you think the president will even give them the free hand to run their ministries and deliver without political, disturbance or rather political, interruption towards the ministry's policies?
The president, or Nigerian president of presidents, is aware of the expectations of Nigeria. He should be aware. I expect that he should be aware that Nigerians we are highly expectant. We want to go out of where we are. The pain economically and otherwise is so much. It's biting on both the big and the small, the masses particularly. He is aware. So I hope, like we are hoping, I hope that his determination, as he has said, that the ministers he has appointed so far, although he has been appointed by some quarters, that there's equity in terms of the distribution, the spread of ministerial position. Like you also mentioned, some key people in key areas, but there are also other areas where there are displacement, like someone like Festus Kiyamo in aviation.
What does he have to do in aviation?
What he will be doing there in administration. So we are watching and we are on guard. And at the right time, we are going to bring them into question.
Okay.
And we've heard in some quota that the president also has taxed them that at least a period of time there will be evaluation and also reports.
But it's always like that. But then even Buhari said so.
Okay.
And he spent 8 years not even changing
okay. So we should, as a people, be trust them and hope that the way he is going and what he's saying, that his ministers along with him also will do the same part. But in a short time, in some time to come, we are going to hold them accountable to the promises they have made and the policies that have been in line of. Like you talked about the governors who in their state before the expiration of their tenure, their state were overrun by bandits, by terrorists. So ordinarily, every Nigerian will that these people they don't have the scorecard to be given positions area. So, but we don't know what is their game plan. We are expecting and hoping that whatever turn out, if it doesn't come out good, Nigerians are going to hold him accountable to the president because he appointed him to be there. Probably maybe there's something he has information or some things that we are not aware. For bringing them, even coming from that background of a state that we've run by terrorists and bandits. So we don't know what's up there. There are information that may be available to. But we as people, we are going to hold them accountable. Accountable to their policy, accountable to their action, accountable to their promises in area of security, which is part of his one of his agenda for the hope for Nigeria. So in a short time, we are going to hold him probably before the first tenure run out. We're going to see how they have fared concerning the issue of security and other areas and the ministerial positions and so forth.
When you talk about holding them to or rather holding them accountable to their actions as a president or as an administration, as a federal government. Now, I want to ask you, what mechanisms do you think? Because we had the previous administration, which of course is also an APC administration. We have people who try to speak up, or those who try to speak out to the government, who try to draw the attention to the wrong policies, to the wrong effect of some of the administration policies. But most of them ended up being locked up. Do you think this administration will give so much, free rein to the press, to the average Nigerian man to speak up their mind? And why I say this is because if you look at the people in power in most of the critical security agencies, now let's look at Malam Niku Ribadu. He is the NSA, and of course, the NSA coordinates every other facet of the security architecture based on the way Nigeria is being set up right now. Do you really think these are people who average Nigerian can have a goal to speak up their mind and get them to the table to look at things squarely without taking the posture of, trying to cover up their president or trying to, shed the administration from the inefficiencies, if there should be? How do you think the security architecture of Nigeria will work? Why I ask this is because we had a case where Mr. Godwin Emefiele, who was being investigated for fraud and other things, was asked to be released on bail by a federal high court, and then we'll have the DSS officials impound, the court premises. In fact, the video that emerged from that action is despicable, to say the least. Is an insult to Nigerian, judiciary, where the man was almost, you could almost say he was kidnapped in the court premises, by force. By a show of force, we have a prison warden who was, manhandled roughly. These are all in video evidence. Now, if such could be done to highly placed Nigerians like that, when the court has already said, let him go and let him face his charges squarely, what do you think would be the fate of the average Nigerian? Well, we try to speak out in this administration when they get it wrong.
Thank you very much. The immediate past administration, impunity was more than the order of the day. Court rulings were not obeyed, rascality of all manner were carried out. Uh, is a test for this very government.
Mm.
And also, thank God that the growing strength of civil society organizations in Nigeria, there are a lot of advocacy groups and also campaign movements that are all over, they are watching. And then also, uh, even a platform like this, it makes it also easy for people to talk about critical issues that nobody's guard. The media is also vibrant. There are platforms also that opportunities and allowances are given to people to air out their feelings and also to criticize government when government is not doing very well. I also thank God that the present administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is also an APC led government. When the former president Muhammad Buhari was about it, he said openly that he failed. He failed.
Okay.
Particularly most of the promises that were laid out before he assumed office. So in the same way, I am thinking that the same president who is also on the APC will not want to continue that reputation of failure as becoming a trademark of the party.
Okay.
But Nigerians, we have been pushed to the wall.
Almost
We
faith
lost
in the
our
government.
faith, we lost our troop, we have lost almost everything. So Nigerians are prepared. Civil society organization, movements, you understand, the media that are there, you are doing a great work. But providing the platform and the window. So all these things are avenues that will be used and galvanized, to press the governments. Okay, that when subsidy woman was being put forward, even before then, there was a period also the president talked about, I think, a disbursement of 5,000 naira
And Nigerians declared that.
And there was an immediate withdrawal
Yeah.
of the government. So we are hoping that they want to take a new leaf, a new turn, because they told the path of the old government, it's not going to really be welcomed by Nigerians, and Nigerians will do everything possible to seek for a better life, and then also a redress accordingly, using the proper framework and also mechanisms that we are available to us as a democratic nation.
Okay. The show is People and Politics on SRTV, and I'm Kenneth Paul. When we go for this short break, if we come back, we'll continue this discussion where we'll have Mr. Ogu Adekole, and we'll be looking at the renewed hope agenda, the policy, and the hope, if there is hope in the renewed hope agenda. We'll be back shortly and then we'll continue this discussion. Don't go anywhere.
Hooray! The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets. The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets.
Welcome back to SRTV, and we are here in Abuja. We've been looking at the president's renewed hope agenda. We're looking at the merits and the demerits of these policies so far. We're looking at the hope for the average Nigerian man in the renewed hope agenda manifesto. Sir, I really briefly want us to talk about the youth ministry. We've talked about the president's, appointment so far. I think for me personally, I have a high level of belief when it comes to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, looking at his predecessors in Lagos State, having been a governor, and the blueprint he laid down, also having been able to, after the process of selecting his successors, who have been able to keep with that blueprint and turn Lagos State to what it is today. But for one thing, I really want to commend him for, if I can, which of course I will be the appointment of a certain Mrs. Jamila as the youth minister. For the first time in Nigeria, we're having a female head of the youth ministry. There's a young female head of the youth ministry. So what do you think about this? Is this positive, or is this something we should not rush to celebrate yet?
Well, I think it's positive. Positive in the sense that this is Nigeria, a country where over the years we have seen youth leaders in parties, youth ministers, people who are above 60 years. Then you begin to
what
ask
can you
the person,
offer?
so how does that person understand the challenges of every average youth in Nigeria?
Of course.
Because there's a
Disparity.
generational divide and difference there.
Yeah.
So the present minister of youth, she's young, she's also educated. We believe, we are trusting and also hoping that by virtue of being a youth, not somebody above 60 or 70 as it used to be before, she should be able to connect very well, to understand the challenges that are everyday Nigeria, every youth in Nigeria face. The challenges of unemployment, the challenges of lack of access to governance, and all manner of challenges that are everyday Nigerian face. So it's our expectation that bringing a youth and a female, a youth indeed, in this position, that it should be a wake up call on the government as well as also the person in that very office, because it's more of like a thing that's never been done before.
Oh, of course.
So it's a big challenge on her as a person. It's also a big challenge on the government for taking a different direction
Mm.
from the previous government
Yeah.
in terms of appointing a new youth.
Very youth. Yeah.
So we are hoping, we are expecting that the the personality in question should be able to understand what we youth in Nigeria are going through and should be able to do the needful.
But there's been some criticism from some sectors. Of course, it's always, you know, it's always two sides of the coin when appointments have been made. Of course, have just been sent to the nominations will be sent to the Senate for them to confirm, but we're expecting the Senate to do that. But there's been criticism on some part of it that she does not have the, the exposure to handle the youth ministry at the federal level. That she has already held, big portfolios to handle such because of the pressure that comes with handling the youth ministry is quite enormous. We have a lot of people agitating, a lot of youth bodies trying to seek support from the government, a lot of youth bodies trying to push their own agenda. Well, and then the question becomes, for her, without so much exposure when it comes to federal politics, respect being given anyway. She's well trained. She's a medical doctor by profession. She has series and series of exposure when it comes to on the job demand. But the question is, at the federal level, it is mostly about political, alignments, and mostly about affiliations, mostly about pushing out. So the question is, do you really think she has the capacity to deliver on the federal scale?
Um, I think if we journey back before now, the president of the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo, there were a lot of faces that were brought, technocrats that
Yeah.
were brought on board who never had experiences in terms of politics at national
Mhm.
level, or what have you, people like Elfa, people like Dora,
Mhm.
and what have you, and then many of them they performed very well. Today, uh, a new nominee have been sent forth. Uh, the whether the experience is there, whether at the national level or not, I don't think that should be questioned. I think what it is a capacity in terms, like you said, to train now, and also patience also is required.
Okay.
And then also we should wait, and also all youth organizations. I think it should be a call to support at least the youth indeed in Nigeria. So every support and every input that should come from all youth organizations within Nigeria should be, if he is finally confirmed, should be given to her. So, by the area of whether the person does not have experience of national politics, or that's why I mentioned Obasanjo administration, Jonathan administration, a lot of people that we brought on board, you never saw them at the federal level, whether politics before, but they perform and achieve incredibly well. So, the possibility that she's going to succeed if all what's we call youth organization give her the necessary support and what have you to make her to scale through, in the sense that, like I said, I keep emphasizing that this is the first time indeed that a youth indeed is being nominated, you know, to fill this position, not having 60 years old, 70 years old as youth as used to be before.
Yeah.
So the possibility that she could succeed, that she could perform very well, irrespective, despite not having that national politics in what have you, is there. I think it's possible she can succeed.
Okay, if you're watching this is SRTV, we're streaming live from Abuja. Now in SRTV, we'll have what we call the youth, the next presidentiality TV show. We're having the third edition this year. The idea behind this, of course, is a child of the CEO himself who has a passion for capacity building, for giving the youth an opportunity to delve into governance. Now, the idea behind the next presidential is to groom future leaders, put them on the spotlight, have them know the rudiments, the basics of moving into politics, into leadership. Teach them the concept of having a proper manifesto, running a government with an idea, with a vision. Now, if you are out there and you're watching the show and you want to register for the youth present, the next president reality TV show, please visit SROTV, Superior Radio and Television.com and slash the next president. You register, the registration is for free. Of course, the winner goes on with a huge amount of 500,000 naira. The financial aspect aside, there is the exposure, there is the networking. We also provide, support and mentorship. We have the opportunity of taking these young people to London to, have a very strong MOU we signed with the Leadership Training Institute over there to groom them, to help, brush them up, to help give them the courage, because leadership is all about courage, it's all about tenacity, the ability to work on your vision, to deliver on your vision. So it becomes something we do every year. We try to, move it around the youth. Even before you get to the presidential level, you have to first of all be the youth governor of your state. And when you're able to do that, you now move on. So what do you think? Do you really think these are kind of policies we want to see, grow in Nigeria?
It's a wonderful initiative. A wonderful initiative. Wonderful indeed. Wonderful in the sense that if you look at the Nigerian state and also you look at governance and leadership in Nigeria from 1960 to date, one thing that you would come to terms with is that there is a narrative that is ongoing, a narrative of leaders, occupying position for self-aggrandizement, self-sustaining, family sustaining, abuse of office, and that's a narrative that is being sold to a lot of youth, young people. So they see the opportunity of service, of leadership, which should be service, as an opportunity for business.
Yeah.
So once you are given offer, so this initiative, it's so fundamental in the sense that it's going to change the psyche, it's going to change the culture, the tradition of leadership is in Nigeria is a place to have access to national cake.
The national cake.
So the idea of catching them young, to begin to infuse into them a new concept, a new commitment of loyalty, of direction about how to carry Nigeria, and then what leadership entails, particularly as service to humanity, but not a place of personal aggrandizement and also enrichment of one's family and also loyalist, but rather it's a service, it's a call. So I believe this initiative, and in the long run, though it may look small for now, but in the long run, it's returned to a movement that the average narrative and average thinking and average ideology and belief and philosophy that when you occupy position, bring it, come and chop. Let's call from the national cake will change. Yeah. So it's a step in the right direction and should be encouraged and should be applauded. That's a wonderful answer.
Thank you very much. We're still on SRTV and we're streaming live from Abuja. We're going for a short break now. When we come back, we'll briefly touch on the president's foreign policy plan, look at his visits to the United Nations, look at his stopover some key partners to the Nigerian country, to the Nigerian state rather. We're looking at the United Arab Emirates, we look at his stopover in the United States, his stopover in the UK, and then we'll use that to build a template towards the Real Hope agendas plan, or rather his foreign policies, and then from there we can understand what exactly entails for the average Nigerian. Please stay on. You're still on SRTV, and my name is Kenneth. The show is People and Politics.
Hooray! The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The Next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets. The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets. The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets.
Welcome back to SRTV Abuja. Today we've been looking at the renewed agenda of the president and what it entails for the average Nigerian. My guest today has been Mr. Dakole, and briefly, sir, before we round up, I would like us to look at the foreign policy under the renewed agenda, master plan, or rather the manifesto. Now, when the president took over, he said that Nigeria would be more about building bridges, about getting partners for equal commitment towards the development of the Nigerian state. Even when he went to the United Nations, he spoke about exploitation of the African society, the vast mineral exploitation that has been going on for decades in Africa, and how he expects our foreign policy, our foreign partners rather, to not just exploit us, but to have a transfer of technology, transfer of idea, transfer of knowledge in areas where we are not yet skilled up to do yet. But the skepticism rather from most Nigerians has been that this has been the song of all administrations, and then they end up going to these foreign partners to collect humongous loans that never manifest to real projects. Of course, the previous administration before now had already taken loans that ran into several billions of dollars, and it was all tied down to some white will project, if I can use that word. Or most of the projects that those loans were tied down to, as we speak now, are not nowhere to be seen. But the question is, why do we want to believe that this administration will do anything different from what has been the norm of the Nigerian leaders before now?
If Nigerians don't believe, I won't blame them.
Yeah.
I won't blame them in the sense that you remember the Ambassador administration, there were trips all over the world. Buhari took over, there were trips all over the world. For the bilateral agreement, this and that, here and that. UAPCs, also to the G20 statements were made. Yeah, well, the statements were bold, really. Bold in the sense that he emphasized on concerted efforts since global problems are becoming international in nature. That it wouldn't be a thing that just a few nations will decide, but rather it should be a thing that it should be a collective process to shape the future, to redirect. And Africa, particularly the advanced global north should be able to give that space to the less developed global south. Now, the one thing I know is that nobody will do it for you.
Okay.
The international arena is a place for national interests. And most of these countries, yeah, the visit is good, there's no doubt about that, but they have our embassies and what are the high commissions in respective countries. They feed them back the purpose of the feed them back with what is going on. So, what we give the leeway or will give us a breakthrough in that direction, it is what is actually happening on ground in Nigeria. If the agenda for renewed hope is kick-started in the right way and there's commitment to it, all these nations that have embassies in Nigeria, what is the use of the embassies?
Okay.
The embassies are there to feed them back with information of what is going on.
Mhm.
So if those opportunities and the doors are open, if there's a fair playing ground for businesses and what have you for direct foreign investment, those embassies are there, they'll feed that information. So I'm not saying that going out or the travel, they are not important. I get it, they are important, that we do. But what we really make it that we concretize it and give life to it, it is what we are actually doing at home.
Yeah.
And above all, the realm of the international politics or international stage is not a realm of altruism, it's not a realm of philanthropism, it's a
Yeah.
realm of national interest.
Interest. Yeah.
So when you're begging for technology transfer or what have you and blah blah blah, sir, it may not really come cheap. It may not come easily. The question we ask ourselves is nations like China, nations like India, nations like Singapore and the rest of them, how did they achieve it? How did they do it? These nations, some of them are also it is to their own advantage when you are technologically and economically backward.
Yeah.
So that those companies who are there over there can
It's
continue to
subjugate you.
produce
Yeah.
for you. So when you become independent, how do they sustain?
That's the question.
So it's not just in just traveling, though important, but it is what we do. I think it is high time we begin to, as a nation, invest heavily, particularly a budget into education, and particularly education in the area of technology.
Mm.
We should be able to produce what we consume.
Mm.
We should be able to make sure that our education is applied, but not education without knowledge.
Mhm.
Year out, we have churning out engineers, civil engineers,
Thousands.
chemical engineers, and what have you. Yet
Thousands.
we have foreign companies and expatriates doing all this work here,
Okay.
building our roads, building our bridges, exploring our mineral resources. The question is, where are all these engineers and where are all these professionals we continue to churn out? If we don't harness, if we don't properly invest in this area to connect our education to our technology and also to the advancement of our nation, it's going to be very challenging. The visit here, a lot of positive statements were made. I get in opening the space for dialogue, for commitment, for consultation, for collaboration, but not inferior, superior, inferior relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, they were made. President Tinubu made that statement at the G12. You understand? He made that statement and also tried to seek for business community opportunity, telling them what is going on in Nigeria and they hope for a new agenda for review, hope of what they are doing and what have you. It's good, no doubt about that. But actually, what is going to concretize and bring the benefit to having immigrants and transform us as a nation, it is actually what they do practically in realizing this renewable agenda that is going to drive Nigeria to the place we all dream of.
Thank you very much. It has been a wonderful time with you, Mr. Dakole. I believe we'll be seeing more of you.
By the grace of
We
God,
really,
it's a pleasure
really
to
have a
be around.
lot to still look into. The political space keeps unfolding. Is fluid in nature.
Yeah, yeah.
That keeps we keep having new updates. They keep seeing a lot of fluid movement. Nothing is so dynamic there. A lot of things changes every day, and we expect to see you more of you in our studio so we can dissect the Nigerian
It
issues
will
as
always
it
be
unfolds.
a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a
Thank you.
pleasure being around with you in this chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
To
so
our
much.
viewers out there, you've seen it. The real agenda is actually unfolding. For me, I think 100 days is really quite little to judge a policy or to determine if it has been to the best. But we can also take home the fact that the president has always, in his broadcast, said that he feels the pain of the average Nigerian. He understands where it pains us the most. There have been some palliatives, there's been some, interventions to ameliorate, the level of suffering that most of the policies has, inflicted rather on the average Nigerian. My name is Kenneth Paul, and the show is People and Politics. So what we'll see again, we'll continue this discussion. Thank you.
Hooray! The next president show is here again. Are you aged between